Next thing you're going to do is use the slope to find more points. I'll write that down. That's how you graph a line. Please make sure you write it down. We have the line y equals 3x minus 5. Please tell your neighbor, what is the y-intercept, the starting point? What's the slope? Okay, Xander, what's the y-intercept? -5. Yes, so I'm going to plot the point 0, -5 on my y-axis. Xander, what's my slope? That's not my slope. That's okay. Pierre, what's my slope? My slope is 3. So here's how you're going to see me write this a lot of the time. I'm going to put 3, but we want it to be a fraction because it's rise over run. So I'm going to make it 3 over 1. That's puff, puff, positive. So slope dude goes up the mountain. He goes up 3. And he always skis from left to right. So we're going to write up 3, right 1. I know you might be able to do this in your head. I'm pretty much always going to write it out so I don't make silly mistakes. Now we're going to graph that slope. So I start at my y-intercept and I go up 3, right 1 to get more points from there. Up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1, up 3, right 1. And you keep going and going as far as you can. If you leave it like this, I won't be very happy with you. You need to reverse it and go the other direction. So go down 3, left 1. Looks like I can only do that one time. Go ahead and connect the dots to make a line, please. Okay, this is important. You need to have arrows on either side because otherwise you've made a segment. This is not a segment, it's a line. It has rays on both ends because it's extending infinitely in both directions. Please make sure you have arrows on both sides. It's a line, not a segment. Whenever you're ready. The domain, remember, is all of your input values. It's all of your x values. The range is your output values or your y values. We learned about that when we learned about functions. So the domain of this graph, the one that we just graphed, the x's, because this is a line, it would keep going and going and going. It would never stop, and it's going to cover every single x in the number line. So what we say is all real numbers. Or you can do that weird R. The y, because it would keep going and going and going forever, is the same thing. It's also all real numbers. I'm going to do the weird R for that one. That means all real numbers, remember? McGarity, what's my y-intercept for y equals -1/4 x plus 5? Yep, so I'm going to write the point 0, 5. Go ahead and graph that. That's your starting point. It happens one time. How about Emily? Emily, what's my slope? The number in front of the x. We're going to translate that into real person language. Would go down 1, right 4. He always skis down or up first and then to the right because he skis from left to right. So if you see a nice negative slope, he's going down the mountain. Start at your y-intercept and go down 1, right 4 until you run out of room. And make sure you go back to your starting point and reverse the other way. Connect the dots. Did I do that right? Yeah, it's just. And draw your arrows because it's not a segment, it's a line. What's my domain? What are all the possible x values?
All real numbers.
Yes, because it goes on forever and ever. In the x, negative x, and positive x. Ben, what's my range?
All real numbers.
Yep, I can be any y value because it goes on forever and ever.
Miss Brand's doing it on the boards if you don't understand.
You've solved equations like this before, but if you're confused, I'm doing it on the board.
Just place it onto like something simple because we're simple for people. Just like our tater tots.
There you go. So let's go down this bottom one. It's not in slope-intercept form, so you're going to solve for y just like you did in those last two. Once it's solved for y and in slope-intercept form, graph your y-intercept, graph your slope, get your domain and range. I'm going to let you finish that last one on your own, and then check it with me. Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably a guess. I'm pretty sure you should. That last year.
There you go.